so slow and still, fading dream, a hazy blur, a whispered word, soft laughter on a sunny afternoon, with the homies, everything's in tune, everything's in tune.
Welcome everyone to Cocktails with the Homies. My name is Daniel. On this episode I'm joined by a lovely bartender here in downtown. We're in neighborhood currently in East Village, San Diego?
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. Brie, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell people what you do and where we are.
Hello, I'm Brie. I work in the neighborhood complex. A lot of the time here in Noble, I'm the assistant general manager, but I still stay behind the bar a good amount of the time. So
love it.
Like,
can't get you away, huh?
Nope. No, you'll find me here almost all of the time.
I like that they let you bartend here.
Yeah.
That's still a treat. They don't at my place.
Shift.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this place. We're at Noble Experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Can you tell me about the bar and what we do in this whole building?
Yeah, so Noble Experiment, I feel like holds a very special place in the city. We are a dealer's choice bar, so we don't have any physical menus or anything. Kind of just like meeting people where they're at, ask a little bit about personal preferences, flavors you like, styles of cocktails, and then also taking what somebody gives us and maybe getting them out of their comfort zone a little bit, giving them something new to try, have fun with, but definitely trying to give everybody that cocktail that springs to their mind, but a little bit different than their normal go-to.
Yeah, how do you feel that kind of impacts your experience with guests being only my call bar?
Mm-hmm. It's really good. You get a huge mix of people, especially being in downtown, as far as you have the convention center, we have our regulars, we have the cocktail aficionados, as well as just your run-of-the-mill, I'm in downtown, I just want to party kind of thing. So we have this beautiful mix of people that come through this place, which can be very confusing to some, and also really intriguing to a lot as well. So gauging where somebody's at when they sit down, whether they're super into cocktails, whether they're just getting into cocktails. Sometimes people are just I only drink beer, but I want to be in the room, kind of thing. And meeting somebody where they're at, and gaining their trust. A big thing that we talk about in this room is gaining somebody's trust. So it's very confusing. We got hidden doors. We have 3 bars. You have, go through this door, but don't go through that door.
Yeah.
So by the time somebody actually sits down, there's a lot of confusion. And then on top of that, you're being oh, there's no menu. Just tell me what you want. But then it's just well, not a vodka soda, or a regular margarita. So gaining somebody's trust is a really big aspect of this room.
Sure.
You're kind of some people want to play the game, and they're just well, I want sweet but not too sweet, but strong but citrusy, and it's just okay, let's dissect some of this, and kind of help guide people to what they would really enjoy more than anything, which is a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just here's a tequila soda, and then you gain their trust and they see how you interact with everybody around them, and then that second round comes around and they're okay, I'm ready to play the game now. And it's just building that trust is a really big component of this room.
Yeah, I mean, that was my experience here. When I first had a drink here, I was that oh, I just want this. I know what you do, but I just want this. And then it was really cool how in the progression of my service, it kind of won me over, that trust that you're talking about. I was oh wow, okay, I know I wanted this, but I'm really happy that I got that.
Yeah, kind of getting somebody out of their necessarily comfort zone. We get a lot of people who are just I drink margaritas, and that's it. I'm cool. First drink, you can make something as simple as a mate, where you just throw some mint and cucumber in there, and somebody has, and they're not getting something that is going to make maybe me happy. They're getting something that's going to make them happy. It's just a little sidestep.
Yeah.
And then that next round comes around, and they're just okay, you're not going to give me something that I'm going to absolutely hate. So now we can play around with it a little bit more. And it's just okay, let's play around with some other flavors. Getting people to look at flavors not necessarily as these are the cocktails that I've had in these flavors, but when you go out to a restaurant, what kind of flavors do you enjoy having on your plate? Because we have so many toys to play with back here that you know, we can pull a lot of those like fun flavors that
Yeah.
you know maybe not every bar can do, because I mean looking at the back bar is insane in here. We have so many different like
Truly.
modifiers, so many different like flavor components, and you know, getting somebody something that we know that they'll like, they're comfortable with, and then getting something new and exciting for them. Like, new and exciting can mean so many different things to each person. Like, new and exciting to somebody who only drinks margaritas is that made, or is, you know, throwing ginger in something, and you know, that can blow their world. And then somebody else that's, you know, really into all sorts of cocktails, you can get like, you know, more creative and be like, oh, I have like a nori liqueur, let's do like a nori, you know, margarita, or a nori martini, or like something like weird and funky.
Yeah.
So figuring out where somebody's at and then like building off of that is...
So on that line of like kind of how your service works, how do you find more creativity? Because it's always just like an empty canvas with every person. Do you really touch on classics a lot and you kind of like do riffs, or are you out here like at home really trying to find cooler things to like present to people?
I think just as like, I think it's a good combination of everything. This room definitely pulls so much from history, so much from like pre-prohibition cocktails to post-prohibition cocktails, to that like modern renaissance in like the early, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. So definitely pulling those cocktails that you know is like tried and true, and like they're tried and true for a reason.
Yeah.
And then, you know, eventually when you get somebody who's like a little bit more, you know, in depth of something, then, you know, you just like Mr. Potato Head it, which is like what we like to call it. It's like, you know, taking this, you know, modern classic and just being like, you know, it uses Grand Classico, but I got this other fun Amaro in, and I'm just gonna like, you know, switch that out. You know, you're taking out this little piece and putting in that little piece. I think that's where I find like the most fun of just little side steps. Definitely playing around with like those classic cocktails more than anything else. And then like at home, you know, I still think of myself as like newer to like this side of the industry. So a lot of like studying, a lot of like looking stuff up, a lot of, you know, going to our, like the city is so good with education and so good with,
Yeah, they are.
you know, inviting people into their spaces and sharing that knowledge, not to mention the amount of people who just already have so much knowledge that are so willing to like openly share it. You know, that's a really big thing for me. I'm fortunate enough to work with so many experienced bartenders just in this building alone, that, you know, I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid not to know something. If anything, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I need to find a bigger room.
Love it.
So
That's a great saying.
Yeah, like I never want to be the biggest fish in the pond. Like, I want to pull from everything around me and just continue to, like, you know, pick somebody's brain about what they know more than me in general.
And I mean, that speaks to you speaking, or you crossing that line, right? Of front of the house and the back of the house.
Yeah.
How do you pull from the back of the house of things that you've learned to bring it up to the bar?
So I would say that, like, you know, I did work in kitchens for about 10 years and kind of had, like, that's where I grew that mentality of, like, just, you know, you learn something from everyone around you, whether it's, like, a dishwasher that tells you about how their mom or grandma made something, to, like, you know, executive chefs that have, like, huge backgrounds. And you use all of that and, like, continue to, like, pull it together. And then at the end of the day, everything's just, like, building flavors on top of each other, and understanding like what goes well together. I think some of my favorite things to do is fail. When you're trying to put either like a food dish together or a sauce or something, like it's very like it's very much the same on both ends, as far as, you know, you have your mother sauces, you have your cocktail families, and then you just like build off of those, and sometimes it doesn't work, and like that's okay. Like, I'm
sure you've experienced, but like failure often leads sometimes to like finding new things.
100%. Like,
it's
this
oh, cool.
did not work for this, but it's now given me a new idea that worked out better than like my original one could have ever been.
Exactly.
So I really enjoy failure sometimes. Yeah. So I enjoy that, and just trying new things, like being creative and not being afraid. I think a lot of people ask me if I'm afraid to like give somebody a bad cocktail. I'm like, no, because we just do it again.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's like
it's easy.
bars, like there's no stakes. Like it's okay. Like, but I definitely think that like my time in the back of house makes me look at cocktails a lot differently. Opposed to people who started in the cocktail industry and kind of like worked their way up that way. I know bartenders that will tell you the exact note that they're trying to take from this certain bottle and this certain amount, and like that's how their brain works. I wish my brain worked like that. It does not. Usually I am grabbing a bottle because how do I put this? I know that the end product I want is going to take like a certain thing from this bottle.
So you're imagining the end flavor and knowing that this note is going to help kind of reach the end for this song.
Yeah, like I don't always, I'm getting better at it, but I don't always know why, I'm trying to find a bottle that is a really good example. Like Amaro Lucano. I love pulling that bottle all the time. I love when I sip it by itself. I can give you a lot of notes on it. But when I put it in a cocktail, sometimes I'm just like trying. I'm just like, I'm almost positive it'll give me this outcome. Yeah. And
wow.
That's kind of like
what a line to tiptoe on where you're just like, I don't know.
And like I know that's like such a like weird thing to say. But it works for me for the most part.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better at like picking out those like little things, but
do you think that's just like a level of pressure you give yourself just because that's how you do it?
Yeah, and I think I also like I think it's how I used to cook too.
Yeah.
Is by taste, and it's just like I couldn't tell you exactly how much salt or cumin or some other spice I put in something, but I know like I picked up this much and I stopped a little bit short because even though initially like I grabbed like what I thought I would use, like there's something about like that little like spidey sense in the back of your brain that goes, oh, that's enough.
Yeah.
And same thing with like when you're cooking, it's just like, oh, I put this in the oven for 10 minutes, but this little itch on the back of my head is going like, oh, it's been 8 minutes.
Smells right.
let's go check on that type of thing. And I feel like it's very much like the same with like pulling different bottles and do I want to do a quarter or do I want to do 3/8 of something and do 3/8 and 3/8, or do I want to do like a Napoleon split or all of those things. Those are all I think like in the moment kind of decisions sometimes. Sure. And are they always right? Absolutely not. I've dumped many of cocktails where I'm just like, oh, that was a bad cocktail. But also sometimes it's just, may not be the exact outcome that I was looking for, but sometimes it's better in a different way.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think this style of bar has changed the philosophy of your bartending?
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know, given that this is like the main bar that I've worked in, I don't know how to like be a normal bartender. I like when I go into other places, I'm just like, what do you mean you have to like only do these things? Like, I just get to play around at work every single day and try new things, and like I don't think I would have progressed as fast as I have without working in this space. Particularly because they harp on technique. They are really making sure that everybody knows their stuff, and then also having so much to be surrounded by, I think is a very fortunate thing that I got to be a part of, especially as coming in as like I started barbacking here when I left the kitchen. And almost like didn't get the job because Frank McGrath was just like, what do you mean? Like, why are you gonna come bar back for me? Like, I'm just like, I just want to like clock in, clock out. I just need to like reset my life. And just listening to how everybody like talks about cocktails, how everybody talks about spirits. I'm just like, oh, everybody's just a bunch of nerds. And you just get to like geek out on it the same way I geeked out on produce in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, I just like kept hearing more and more, and then now I'm intrigued, and now I'm going to these classes, and now I'm wanting to play around. Now I'm studying these old classic cocktails and pulling stuff from like the 1920s, and worked my way from there. And like I don't think I would have had that same trajectory if I started any place else than this place in particularly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would have found the same like passion at other bars particularly.
I mean, I can tell why. It's a treat to explore every day.
Yeah.
It must be such a treat to just be like, I don't know what I'm making today. Like, I'm not gonna make a billion of these margaritas that we have on our menu. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do a bunch of things.
But it's also seeing like people's faces when they come in, and when you do win over that somebody's trust who is like very like timid about it.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, they're raving and they're having fun and they're just like, even if there's been times where like I get somebody to try a cocktail and they're just like, this one wasn't right. Cool. Thank you so much for getting out of your comfort zone. Thank you for letting me try. Let's do it again. And then, that second drink, they're like, this is the best cocktail I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, cool. We hit the mark.
I love it.
That's okay. And like seeing somebody's, engaging with us and getting excited and, having like we get bachelorette parties, we get birthdays, we get, a lot of parents bring their kids in for like their 21st birthdays. And there's something about this space and like how we approach hospitality, along with like the bartending and everything. I feel like as much as I want to say it's 50-50, I would say the cocktails are probably like more like 40. And I would say like the hospitality and like giving everybody that good time is definitely like that 60 for me.
Yeah.
As much as I love geeking out on all this stuff, as much as I love like making cocktails, seeing somebody have a good time in front of me is like so addictive.
Do you feel like you pull a different person out of people because of the style of bartending here? Like, it's not like, oh, which one do you want?
Yeah.
It's more like, hold on, let's talk real quick.
Yeah,
Let me see.
It's engaging.
Yeah. Because like I feel like you pull from people's personalities as well as what they say.
Oh yeah. And especially in like that group dynamic when you have like a bunch of people around, and not to say that you don't when you go to like a standard restaurant bar or another bar, like people always like be trying each other's drinks and everything. But when you have a group of people that gave their idea of a cocktail and then they get something back and then take a sip and they're like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. And then next thing you know, everybody's passing around cocktails and everybody's like sipping on this, or like, oh, that's crazy. What did you ask for? Like, how did you ask for that? And it just becomes this like very like shared sense of, conversation and enjoyment. And
do you feel like that ever happens bar wide? People are like, yo, that sounded really good what you said.
100%.
And that drink looks fucking great.
Oh yeah. People will just be like, wait, what did you ask for? What is that? And like they'll ask us sometimes, but a lot of the time like I almost try to like direct them to the person next to them and just be like, oh, I'll answer, but this is what he asked for, like, type of thing. And then it starts conversation with people back and forth, and next thing you know, you have like, I've had people come in like that meet at the bar, and then the next night they come in and they sit at a table together, and these are people that like, they're usually at a conference or something, but they just like hit it off at the bar, and the next thing you know, they're in the next day and they're just like, oh, what did you ask about like yesterday? What was that one that you said? And it's just like, are you gonna get the same exact cocktail? Not always, because we all have different bartending styles, and we can like have like a guess of what somebody made, but we never know exactly what somebody put in a tin. So it's just like you still have that fun kind of like, well, this is my version of what he made you yesterday, or this is my version of like this parameters, and that becomes a whole nother conversation. But you see a lot of people starting conversations based off that, like, oh, this is a tiki mug, what'd you ask for that? Or oh, this one has like a foamy top, like, oh, what was that? So that's always like a lot of fun to see.
I can see this bar coming together like that. Like people at the bar top just like getting a little drunk, but seeing each other and hearing each other and going like looking at other cocktails and like coming together. And
the amount
like,
of times I see strangers just being like, try it, it's okay, like here.
What a cool feeling that is when you're like a bartender and you, like the whole bar comes together, almost like Cheers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone at the bar top is just shooting the shit, enjoying each other.
And it's not always like, oh my god, these are all amazing cocktails. Like so many times you'll put like 4 cocktails in front of somebody and everybody loves theirs, and then they try each other's and like, oh my god, that's disgusting. But it's just like everybody likes their own, so like we hit the proper mark. And like that's.
But it's them finding that like that shared experience of everyone either enjoying it, getting something new, whatever it may be, but they do it together. And this bar, I feel like, is small enough to like, you could hear the person like 3/4 of the way through, and just like come together in that moment, you know. What an interesting experience that must be.
Yeah, I absolutely love this bar is definitely like holds like a little special spot in my heart. Even like when I'm bartending in Youngblood or if I'm bartending in the front, I love all 3 bars, but like this room particularly just has a little spot.
I could see its allure. I could see its allure here, and how it's like the unknown brings everyone to a shared goal.
Yeah.
And like a shared experience here, and I could see it. It must be so much fun.
100%.
Yeah. You know, kind of moving on from here, do you think that working here has kind of changed your path on where you want to go in this industry? Because you've already hopped to the front. Is this like being here? Are you like, well, I kind of want to stay in the front, and I kind of want to push that and see where that takes me?
I love being in the front of the house. I feel like when I was in the back house, I definitely got told to stay in my lane a lot.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the overall picture of how like everything moves together. I'm definitely like, I want to support other people so they can accomplish what they want. Like I've had so many people help like bolster me up and keep like, you know, get me where I'm at. And I know that wherever I end up, you know, going from here on, my main thing is like making sure that like I'm there to support, like, you know, give other people opportunities. You know, we're all like, you know, everybody says like, you know, I'd love to open my own place, and you know, have some friends, and you know, that might be something in the future for me. But I definitely want it so I can give other people the opportunity, and you know, opportunity to shine in their perspective, you know, crafts, but also let guests shine and have fun. And I just the hospitality side of, you know, the business that we do is such like a near and dear thing to me. Like I don't know if I would be able to like not, you know, give somebody a good time like that. It's a very addictive. It's kind of, I think, how I ended up in the front of the house anyways.
100%. I feel like in the back you don't get that satisfaction. Like you just like send that beautiful plate you put your whole fucking life into. You know, obviously you come from the back of the house, so it's like 16-hour days, right? Like you put literally the whole day almost into that fucking carrot. And then you never see anything.
Yeah.
You like,
there's something about like standing behind, and I don't want to say like puppet strings, but like kind of like that orchestrator, kind of like seeing how everything flows.
Yeah.
Seeing what, you know, cog is like getting jammed up a little bit, and like, okay, let's go clear that out. Like, oh, there's, you know, making somebody stay over here. Oh, this is taking a little while. Let's go schmooze them and make sure that they're like, they don't feel that, you know, their entree is taking too long.
Yeah.
So whatever puts me in that kind of like, I guess like overseer kind of like position. We've talked about like how I, you know, Swiss Army knife kind of thing, and I definitely see myself staying in like that more role of, you know, how everything works behind the scenes, how everything works. Like I want to be the person to give everybody the tools that they need.
Yeah, that's an interesting answer, because you know, we interview a lot of bartenders. Not a lot of bartenders are general managers. So your whole kind of quip about manipulating people, and I'm like, I've never felt like I've influenced that so much than when I've been behind a bar.
Yeah.
And I'm able to like help everyone's experience, and it must be like, again, it must be really cool here because it's so small.
Yeah.
Small places are so fucking cool to like, you can have the whole place just vibing and enjoying, and people enjoying each other, because you're like, I'm gonna do one of these, and then that table over there sounds cool, so I'm gonna just do one of these. And like everyone at some point is just like all chatting and talking, and you just stand back with your barback or other bartender and you're like, it's a vibe in here.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
And there's also something like, I've always, you know, eventually made it into a position where like, you know, whether like training people or something, and I get so much joy out of watching people succeed. Like,
beautiful.
I find the joy, and like really good examples for this room specifically is Quentin and Josh Leos are like my little like star tenders back here, and like watching them like just hold court at the bar. I'm like, I don't need to be behind that bar to feel that joy and that like sense of accomplishment, because I see them, they're doing what they need to do, and if the only thing that I need to do is, like we talked about, like fill up some juices and make sure that they have everything that they need, that's so like just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the person I want to be.
Yeah.
And same thing with like the guest. Like if the person you need as like the guest on the outside is to chit chat with you at the table, and you know you've never had this, let me bring out some Braulio daiquiris for you, like, and let me, you know, conduct a good time and like make sure that you need, you know, this random thing, like, oh, I'll go to the front and grab it.
Yeah.
Somebody was like laughing because in Youngblood somebody put like a note that they wanted like a long stem rose, and obviously we're just like, what? Okay. I happened to be like walking on my break and there's a flower shop down the street, and I was just like, it's a $2 rose, like I'm gonna grab it and, you know, make their night. Like hospitality
right there.
Across the board, all day, every day, is really what I'm like drives me. So wherever I end up, wherever that is,
that gives 3 Michelin. I'm not even gonna lie. Truly, that mentality gives 3 Michelin. Like, I've been at a place, I whispered, I wish I had a cigarette, and then the cigarette showed up.
Like,
that sounds like what you did, right? Like, it's just taking yourself out of that everyday kind of like, oh, I gotta go to work. Because yeah, you gotta go to work, but in this job specifically, you go to work and your job can change someone's whole day. Yeah. I've seen it change someone's life for the better. I've seen people come back and just like seeing the praises of some bartender because they got married, and like, you know, like you could truly change someone's trajectory.
I mean, we had a gentleman like asked for us to open up the bar a little bit early, and he proposed to his fiance in here. And you know, we have people be like, you know, neighborhood was such a huge part of our early relationship. We want to do our engagement photos up there. Like, beautiful. Those little things. You know, friends come in town every, you know, once a year. We always come here. It's just like, cool. Yeah. Like, those are the moments that, you know, drive me more than anything else. As much as I love putting flavors together and all of that, it means absolutely nothing if the people on the other side aren't having a good time. Like, sometimes it's just like, oh, you made me this cocktail, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember having such a great night. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't want to say this doesn't matter. It matters. But that feeling of, I don't even remember what I asked for, but I just remember that feeling of being like so happy and having so much fun. And that's, you know, the driving force of why I study, why I geek out, why, you know.
Let's talk about you geeking out. That was my next question. Who kind of influences you in this world of like trying to up the hospitality, which is like a weird notion, right? Because like being hospitable, it's like you're already trying to do everything you can already. Like that's just where you start. Do you have any influences that kind of help you kind of expand that thinking?
I mean, there's like a handful of people that I always hate to be the cliche, but like Anthony Bourdain was like a huge driving force, especially when I was like younger, of like how I looked at things and how you can like appreciate like the small things to the big things. So like that mentality, I really pull a lot of that from, because I think it's just very like humble and like staying humble. And I will say that like just the people in my day-to-day life give me a lot of like inspiration. You know, like Drew Johnson up front, he's our GM, and watching him, you know, how he talks to tables, how he like kind of like works his magic is very like influential to me. Yeah. So I think I draw more inspiration from like the people around me more than like, you know, this big figure, I would say. I'm not sure if that answers the question or not.
Yeah, no, of course.
Kind of like, you know, the people, my friends, my team, definitely are like a huge driving force for me.
Is there maybe a certain book that you kind of lean on for like a creative influence?
I mean, Flavor Bible all day.
Love it.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Anybody who doesn't say like the Flavor Bible, like,
hasn't read it.
Yeah, has not read it. You know, go get you one. Thumb through it. you'll get so much inspiration from that. There was another book on hospitality. I'm trying to remember the name. I read the book, and it's definitely not sticking in my brain. But it was about hospitality and basically like everything that we've talked about.
Gadara?
No, I don't think so. That's gonna bother me now.
Oh no! Now we have to make another episode a different day. Now I have to come enjoy Braulio Daiquiri on a different night.
I'm gonna go off camera and just be like searching through my old things.
We'll make the edit. Different day.
That's literally like how I go about like most of my time. I'm like, I think there was one other thing I put in here, and like come back. Oh, it was this.
We're gonna come have a drink and make an edit one day.
Yeah. But yeah, just I mean, also, books that are even just towards like myself. Like I forget the author's name, but there's a book called The Art of like Not Giving a Fuck.
Fuck yeah.
And that book was amazing. And for somebody who has like very much like anxiety driven, like need to please kind of thing, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck kind of like put things in perspective and how to work through things, which transfers into like how I take my days off, how I manage like long days or like that in between. Really good books for like that kind of like self progression, not just in work but like outside of work as well, are like really good ones. And
like honestly, a lot of good books have nothing to even do with hospitality. Like I have a UI book and it's about ergonomics and it's about this guy's whole mentality and thought process of like, how do I make it like more user friendly, more ergonomic, just better, like this glass. Like you just by looking at this glass, you're gonna grab it right here. Most of the time, obviously people just like fist their glass, but a lot of the time people just grab it like this. And it's just like that someone designed this glass just to do that, right? Like their whole mentality was like, how can I get them to pick up this glass? And like, how cool can I make it look? Or like, whatever.
How do I get them not to warm up their drink?
And it's just like, it was such a good book, and it influenced my bartending so much, like a lot more than I thought until I read it again. I was like, oh, like that's kind of how I just try to think of things. Oh, that's pretty cool. And it had nothing to do with bartending. It was like about software development. Like
there we go.
Nothing.
I mean, everything crosses like a line. Like everything is blurred. Like if everything is like you're gonna learn something from. If you just keep your ears open and your eyes open, there's something to learn from everything.
Sure.
Which is like what I really enjoy for the most part.
It's a very wise kind of like ethos to live by. Truly. So putting aside bartending and everything, do you find a way to like disconnect? Because as hard as like addictive this industry is, it's very hard, I feel, to pull away and like hard stop it. Is there something for you that kind of like rips you out of it?
Absolutely. I mean, that very like simple saying of like touching grass, like
going barefoot,
just sit outside. I know that sounds like so simple and everything, but something I've fell off a little bit this year, and like talking with friends even like this past week, is just like hiking is like a really big thing for me. I did a lot of really big ones last year, which I probably won't be doing so many big ones. That's just, I'm not that kind of hiker. But it was like a lot of fun, and like those, just getting out and, almost like connecting with like that inner child kind of like situation, whereas like, go climb on a rock, go sit in a tree, like go sit on some grass. I don't know how many adults, when was the last time like you sat on a swing and just kind of like kicked your feet up?
Well, I just had a baby, so
you'll be on a lot more swings.
Every fucking day. I try to put this boy on a swing every day. Truly.
It helps a lot. But that's a big one. I'm also like a really big reader. I should read more things that kind of like guide, but I'm really into like, I don't want to say turning off my brain, but like kind of going into like another world. I read a lot of fiction and like fantasy kind of books. I also read a lot of like poetry. So there's always like that rotation of different like books that I love to like stick my nose in. Like the poetry is like a really big one for me. So I really enjoy finding different like books that like talk about different like, usually like very like serious, subjects, and then seeing how people like work through them with like words.
Yeah.
So definitely like enjoy that a lot. But yeah, like being outside, whether it's like with a book on some grass or like, you know, climbing around on something, is a lot of fun. And then just like have like a really good group of like girlfriends around me. So sometimes it's just, you know, going and like chit-chatting, and, you know, food is still a huge part of my life. So I know it's still kind of like tandem, but there's something to be said about being on the other side and having a bunch of food and drink in front of you, and you're just having a good time and just being able to put your shoulders down and just enjoy.
Yeah.
That's always like a really big one for me.
It's a necessity to go and enjoy a different place.
Yeah.
But you got to enjoy it like without thinking about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just came to have like this chicken and enjoy you. Like, that's it.
If somebody's doing something different than how I would do, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. I don't even look over there. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I really try to like be with you, be with this. That's awesome.
Yeah, that and my, I have a dog, so she's kind of like, if I'm not here, I'm, you know, usually with her. She's like a 60-pound chaotic whirlwind of just chaos.
Does she think she's like the smallest dog in the world?
She, yes and no. She's like not too much of like a climb on me, but she's definitely like, you know, zoomies and just doesn't realize that she just like, she's part pity, so like she just like will run into me, and I'm just like, you're taking my knees out.
You're like a little linebacker here, dude.
But she keeps me honest, and, you know, those days where I'm just like, oh, I've had like a long work week, I just want to like lay in bed and not do anything. She like keeps me honest, and she's like, no, we're touching grass,
right.
we're getting outside.
We're getting outside.
Like,
that's right.
So she keeps me honest, and
it's hard to say no to a 60-pound bully. Just like
yeah, she's like, I don't care. she'll move the blankets off me. She'll just, you know, do little circles on the bed. I'm like, all right, we're going.
That's funny.
But yeah, she's my she keeps me honest and keeps me, I'm like, it doesn't matter what work life's like. You're doing what I want to do today.
Good.
So
good. People need that, you know. I definitely needed it. I need my baby to like walk up to me and be like, it's Tuesday, wake up. Mm-hmm. You know. But it keeps you grounded, and it reminds you that there's life to live, and, you know, not everything behind a bar, even though it's fun and it's great, and like you can do it every day. But it's nice to come back.
Yeah, there's so much beauty outside, and if you don't like kind of like look up and like take a look around, then like none of this really matters.
Truly. And the sooner you learn that, the happier you'll be.
100%. Like, take time. Shut it off. Turn it off sometimes. Like whatever it is, take time for your like mental health. Take time for your physical health. Yoga is always like a really big one for me. I love going and, you know, doing some like hot yoga, and like make me feel like I'm dying the entire like hour, because I say I do yoga, does not mean I'm very good at it. But doing something again not well, you know, that's how you start. And it makes you feel good afterwards. Like move your body, not in the same, you know, work motions. Like, you know, get you out of that.
Not building rounds.
Yeah, a little less on the elbows, maybe more on like the everything else.
Yeah. So, you know, being a little bit of a devil's advocate, what advice would you give someone to start in this industry?
Yeah, if you want to like kind of like get your foot in the door, I know a lot of people like, you know, come in and they see, you know, the bartender or the cook that's like, you know, been doing it for a while, and they're just like, I want to do that, and it's just like, cool. Take a few steps back and be humble about it. Mm-hmm. You know, me and a few other individuals in this bar all worked their way up from Barback. And again, I was 29, 30 when I started barbacking in this place, which is like, I had a successful career. I was an executive sous chef, and starting at barbacking was like the best thing that could have ever happened, because just having your ears open and listening and understanding that, you know, you learn so much by watching how somebody works. Yeah. You learn, you know, being that, and also teaches you how to engage with people while still, like, we're all multitasking, like, the entire time. Yeah. So when you can learn the flow of service. You can learn bottles. You can learn technique. Just keep your eyes open and like understand that like you are learning something as you go. And I think that most bartenders that did start as like barbacks and stuff, I think that they have an advantage over people. They're just like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, you have such a higher advantage of knowing how the flow of service works, knowing how the entire machine works, not just like your little part. So, you know, staying humble, asking questions within reason. Like, obviously, if somebody's in like the weeds, don't be like, hey, like, explain everything as you're going. Like, that's obviously not the case. But keeping your ears open, and how people, you know, talk, how people respond to how people talk, and like it's all about like finessing and everything. But you know,
and anyone could do it. I just want to point out, you said that, like, that little quip, you were an executive sous, like, you were fucking there, right? You're pretty much
been in this industry. I could have, like, you know, definitely took a side step and like found another like restaurant to like.
You could have opened your own restaurant.
I don't know about that.
Nope. Oh. But I mean, you definitely had the tools and then the know-how and the ability to, and then you decided to bar back.
Yeah, you know, just put your head down. Sometimes it's really nice to like clock in, clock out.
That must have been scary. Truly, like, that must have been like frightening to be like, you know, I'm gonna dump what I've been doing in the hope, because I'm sure like your hope was you want to be happy, right? You're trying to find some form of happiness. What a fucking jump. Honestly, that's
fun.
really cool. That's really cool. A lot of people think barbacking is kind of like beneath them.
Yeah, I will say like the hill I will die on is like a hierarchy structure, and like belittling somebody in a different position than you. It like gets my blood boiling.
Sure. I mean, why would you want to do that anyways to anyone?
And I feel like it's
especially someone you work with.
Yeah.
Like,
it's I think I love to see like, you know, I've seen many people talk about it, especially in like this generation of like, yeah, I got belittled when I first started and I got this and that. And like, like, don't get me wrong, I was in the kitchen. I definitely like understand, like, yeah, I learned a lot from somebody being hard on me. Yes, I learned a lot from, but also you can learn a lot from not doing that.
Yeah,
and just
respect
because
can be in this.
Yeah, respect is great, and at the end of the day, you're all on a team, and that goes for like respecting being a bartender or a manager, and respecting your barback. Same thing goes for when that barback turns into a bartender, and you see somebody struggling, like, help them. Like, nobody's above, you know, washing some dishes. Nobody's above filling some glassware. And the moment you start, I guess that's going to be like my biggest advice to anybody. Like, the moment you stop saying like, this is not my job, given, yes, it is somebody else's job, but the moment you start saying like, I'm too good for this, I feel like you are already slowing yourself down. Like, you are working in a environment where everything has to work together to move correctly.
Yeah.
And the moment you start saying like, I'm too good for that, like, I'm too good to take out trash, or I'm too good to, you know, help the person next to me, like, you are like shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because not only do you kind of like slow that whole thing down, that person that you're like demeaning, they're not gonna take that well. They're just gonna be like, well, fuck you. Like,
you know, you see so many people who like work their way up, and it's like almost like you forgot how it felt to be in that position. You forgot how it felt when you were like in the weeds with like glassware, and a bartender like came and helped you. Like, remember those feelings when you get to that position, and it takes you so much farther. Like, you want to be a barback or a bartender, be a phenomenal barback. And then when you become a bartender, you want to be a phenomenal bartender, don't forget that you know how to barback. Like, you want to move up in a company and like become, you know, go from, you know, more of like a, you know, take your bartending to a different level, whether it's like going from, you know, classic bartending to craft bartending to, you know, whatever other styles there are.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you remember like all of those steps in between, it's going to like give your trajectory like such a better path, and you'll be more useful, you'll be more valuable. Like, it gives you, the more you like kind of like see everything as like a team, your value becomes more and more exponentially.
True.
And at the end of the day, like everything's a business, and when things start like slipping and stuff, the more value you have as like in your personality and in your like how you work, that's a big defining factor for a lot of like our industry.
Sure. I mean that just, it's like you see that person you work with go from the goal of making $1 to the goal of reaching the goal of the restaurant.
And like the money comes.
The money will come.
Money comes, tips come.
For sure.
Like, all of it comes. Nothing, you can't get there without like those moving pieces working together. And I know we kind of like mentioned like, even being a female working into these industries, you have so much less leeway, and you have your baseline value has to be almost more, and you can't give anybody like a reason to not value your time and your energy, and like there's less of a gap. So as long as you kind of like you come correct as much as you can, give whatever your 100% is for that day. I know nobody's perfect, and nobody can give like 100% of 100% every single day.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you give it your all, then it definitely shows. And also sometimes just like put your head down.
I mean, I don't think I could have said it better. I think what you kind of encapsulate here and your mentality here, I think is awesome, and truly great words to finish on. I think what you do here is special. If you haven't come by, definitely come by. Noble Experiment in the neighborhood complex.
Yeah.
Special bar. I think it's something that everyone should try, and I think it's something that everyone should trust their bartender to do.
Yeah.
Because you guys seem to do it from a place of like not arrogance, not this like controlling, like I just want to be your bartender, let me just make you something, but rather let me invite you here, let me show you our space, let me give you a tour of all our spirits, and let's make a decision together. I think that's awesome.
Please do come through.
Please. Well, thank you so much, Brie. I appreciate you for having us and inviting us into your space, talking about who you are, where you're from, and what you do, and all the good stuff of this industry, because it's people like you that make it special.
Cool.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers. Ding, bang.